Ladies, we are living in a time where innovation shapes the world faster than ever before. Every click, every algorithm, every piece of code is not just transforming industries, it's shaping the future. But there's a problem. The rooms where these transformations are being planned, the boards where strategies are discussed, and the labs where discoveries are made. They don't reflect the rich diversity of the world they aim to serve. And that's why this message is urgent. The tech world needs you, not tomorrow, not someday, now. Let's explore 5 reasons why your presence in tech isn't just important, it's essential. Number 1. Your perspective fuels innovation because it brings something rare, necessary, and powerful to the table, your lived experience. Innovation isn't just about building faster processors or smarter software. At its core, innovation is about solving problems. It's about making life better, more efficient, more connected, more human. And the best solutions don't come from a single voice. They come from many. They come from voices that challenge the norm, offer fresh insight, and see the world differently. That's why your perspective, as a woman stepping into the tech space, isn't just valuable, it's vital. For decades, the tech world has been shaped predominantly by one kind of perspective. That doesn't mean the work has been meaningless or the progress unimportant, but it does mean something is missing. When the same kinds of minds with similar backgrounds are solving the same kinds of problems, innovation becomes linear. Safe, predictable, but true innovation that lives in discomfort. It lives in different. It lives in the places where new ideas collide with old patterns and shift what we once believed was possible. You bring that shift. Whether you've grown up balancing career and caregiving, or you've seen how technology affects real communities, or you've simply asked questions others didn't think to ask, your lens is different. And in tech, that difference is power. You notice gaps others overlook. You imagine solutions others haven't considered. You speak for the users whose stories often go untold. For example, think about the early days of voice recognition. The technology worked beautifully, unless you weren't a man with a deep voice, because the teams designing and testing it didn't reflect the diversity of the world. Products intended for all were optimized for some. Now imagine if women had been more present in those rooms. Imagine how quickly those issues could have been spotted, how naturally inclusive design would have been from the start. That's what your perspective changes, not just outcomes, but entire approaches. Tech isn't neutral. It reflects the intentions, assumptions, and blind spots of those who build it. And if those builders all think the same way, the end result will only serve a fraction of us. That's why innovation needs your curiosity, your empathy, and your fire. It needs someone who sees not just how things work, but how they could work better, someone who questions default settings, someone who dares to disrupt. And here's the truth. What you bring isn't just about diversity for diversity's sake. It's not about filling a quota. It's about creating smarter teams, stronger products, and more thoughtful technology. Studies consistently show that diverse teams outperform homogeneous ones, not because they always agree, but because they challenge each other. They debate, they bring complexity, and in that tension, breakthroughs happen. That tension is where the magic lies. When you enter the tech world with your story, your questions, your passion, you invite that magic. You bring perspectives shaped by caregiving, resilience, multitasking, empathy, or community building. You bring design thinking that values inclusion. You write code that considers accessibility. You build apps that make space for voices that have been ignored for too long. This isn't about having all the answers. It's about showing up with the courage to see differently, speak boldly, and design with humanity in mind. It's about realizing that your experience isn't a limitation. It's your edge. Every time you raise your hand, propose a different approach, or highlight a user experience issue that others missed, you're not just participating, you're leading. You're shaping innovation in a way only you can. There are people waiting for solutions that only your imagination can create. There are challenges that only your insight can solve. The next generation of technology, whether it's in healthcare, education, finance, climate science, or it needs creators who see beyond the numbers. It needs thinkers who care about ethics as much as efficiency. It needs leaders who value connection over conquest. That is why your perspective matters. So don't doubt the power of your voice, even if it sounds different in the room. Don't underestimate the value of your experience, even if it doesn't fit the mold. The tech world doesn't just need more engineers or designers or entrepreneurs. It needs more people like you, people who bring heart to hardware, insight to interfaces, and purpose to every line of code. You are not an outsider looking in. You are the future stepping forward. And with your unique perspective, innovation won't just continue, it will evolve. It will expand. It will finally begin to reflect the beautiful, complex, diverse world it was meant to serve. Number 2, representation isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's not something we add at the end to make things look balanced or diverse. It's something we need at the foundation of every decision, every design, and every innovation. In the world of technology, where our lives are increasingly shaped by algorithms, data, and machines, representation is what ensures that these tools serve everyone, not just a select few. When women are absent from the rooms where tech is imagined, developed, and deployed, the result is not just inequality. The result is incomplete progress. Too often, the tech industry treats representation like a nice-to-have goal, an add-on, or a marketing checkbox. But it's far more than that. Without women, especially women of different backgrounds, races, and life experiences, technology fails to meet the needs of half the world. When only one type of person shapes the future, that future becomes dangerously narrow. It misses the mark, it reinforces biases, it excludes stories that deserve to be told and problems that desperately need solving. When women are not represented in tech leadership, in development teams, or on product design boards, the ripple effects are deep. It's not just about fewer female engineers or developers. It's about the decisions that get made without our input. What products get built, what features get prioritized, whose safety is considered, whose comfort is designed into the user experience. Whose data matters. Without representation, we get technology that doesn't see us, doesn't hear us, and doesn't understand our lives. Representation matters because visibility shapes possibility. When a young girl sees a woman leading a tech company, launching a startup, or speaking at a major tech conference, it tells her something powerful. You belong here. You don't have to be the exception. You can be the norm. It challenges generations of messaging that have implied otherwise. For years, girls have been subtly and overtly told that STEM isn't for them, that it's too hard, too technical, too disconnected from their interests. But that narrative breaks apart when they see someone who looks like them owning space in that world. When we don't see people like us in powerful roles, it becomes harder to imagine ourselves there. It creates internal ceilings, the kind that aren't made of glass but are just as limiting. And these ceilings don't just hold women back, they hold the entire industry back. Because when you limit who gets to lead, you limit how far we can go. When you silence certain perspectives, you dull the brilliance of innovation. True progress demands a chorus of voices, not a single echo. Representation is not about making others comfortable. It's about challenging the structures that have too long kept doors closed. It's about creating environments where women can thrive, not just survive. It's about building companies, products, and platforms that reflect the diversity of the people who use them. And it's about recognizing that when women rise, they bring others with them. Representation creates pathways, it multiplies impact. One woman's success in tech becomes another woman's inspiration to try. But let's be clear, representation isn't just about the numbers. It's not solved by hiring a few women and calling it inclusion. It's about real voice, real power, and real change. It's about having women at the table and being heard at that table. It's about shaping the agenda, influencing the culture, and rewriting the rules. Because the rules were not written with us in mind, and that needs to change. When women are represented fully, the tech world becomes more ethical, more empathetic, and more effective. We ask better questions. We solve more relevant problems. We prioritize people, not just profit. That shift is not just good for women. It's good for everyone. It's good for business. It's good for society. And it's necessary for a future that works for all of us. So if you've ever felt like there's no space for you in tech, know this. Your presence is not optional. It is urgent. It is needed. It is powerful. Step in not as a guest, but as a leader. Not as an exception, but as the beginning of a new standard. Because representation isn't a favor, it's a fundamental right, and it is how we build a future that reflects all of us, not just some of us. Number 3, the industry needs more problem solvers like you, not someday, not when you feel completely ready, but now. The world of technology isn't just about code or machines. It's about solving real human problems. From how we communicate to how we heal, from how we learn to how we build our communities. Technology touches every part of life. And the deeper the impact, the greater the responsibility. That's why the tech industry needs more thinkers who lead with empathy, who understand complexity, and who are bold enough to challenge the status quo. That's why it needs you. For too long, tech has been shaped by a narrow idea of what a problem solver looks like. The stereotype is clear: a lone genius working in isolation, fueled by logic alone, disconnected from the everyday lives of people. But that image is not only outdated, it's deeply harmful. It shuts out countless brilliant minds who bring different strengths to the table. And among those excluded voices are women with the ability to transform the way the world works, simply by being who they are. Problem solving isn't just about formulas and functions. It's about listening, noticing, caring. It's about asking the right questions before jumping to answers. It's about seeing a gap and thinking, there has to be a better way. Women have been doing that kind of thinking in every space they've been allowed into, whether at home, in classrooms, in communities, or in careers where they've had to fight to be heard. That kind of thinking is exactly what the tech industry needs more of. You might not see yourself as a tech expert or a traditional innovator, but that doesn't matter. If you've ever improved a process, fixed a broken system, created something from nothing, or supported someone through a challenge, you've already solved problems in ways that matter. The tech world needs that same approach. It needs problem solvers who don't just focus on how things work, but who they're working for. It needs people who bring both logic and intuition, structure and creativity. Technology that only considers efficiency but ignores impact is incomplete. We've seen what happens when products are launched without consideration for privacy, safety, or mental health. We've seen what happens when automation is prioritized over human well-being. The industry is finally waking up to the reality that humans-centered thinking isn't optional, it's essential. And women bring that thinking naturally, often because they've lived lives that required them to balance multiple needs and perspectives. They understand nuance, they navigate complexity, they lead with purpose. That's the kind of leadership tech desperately needs. The truth is, the most pressing problems we face today, climate change, education inequality, health disparities, ethical AI, accessibility, cannot be solved with one-dimensional thinking. They require multi-layered insight, diverse teams, and a variety of lived experiences. Your unique way of seeing the world can illuminate solutions no one else would think of. Your background, your journey, your questions, they are not liabilities. They are your greatest tools. The tech industry doesn't need more people who all think the same way. It needs people who ask new kinds of questions, people who build products that reflect real life, not just an idealized version of it. People who remember that behind every user is a human being with hopes, fears, and needs. When women step into this space, they often carry with them a deep understanding of what it means to juggle competing priorities, to advocate for others, and to create something meaningful in the middle of chaos. That lived wisdom is more valuable than any technical manual. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to know every programming language or have 10 years of experience. What you need is the courage to show up, to learn, and to contribute. The ability to solve problems isn't reserved for a select few. It belongs to those who are willing to step forward, ask better questions, and care deeply about the outcome. You are that kind of problem solver. You are already equipped with everything you need to begin, and when you bring your voice to the table becomes smarter, stronger, and more innovative. The industry doesn't just benefit, it transforms. So don't wait for permission, don't wait to be invited. Step in with confidence and know this: the tech world isn't just a place for you, it's waiting for you, because the future won't be built by one kind of person. It will be built by people like you, people who care enough to make it better. Number 4. You don't need to know it all, you just need to start. That simple truth has the power to shatter one of the biggest barriers holding people, especially women, back from stepping into the world of technology. For so long, we've been taught to believe that expertise is a prerequisite for entry, that unless we have all the answers, a long list of credentials, and absolute confidence, we have no place in the room. But that belief is a lie. No one knows it all, and the ones who succeed aren't the ones who know everything. They're the ones who dared to begin. In tech, things change fast, languages evolve, tools get updated. What's cutting edge today may be outdated tomorrow, so if you're waiting to feel ready, you may be waiting forever. Readiness is not a requirement. Willingness is. Willingness to learn, to try, to fail, to ask questions, to get back up. That's the real superpower. The truth is, every expert was once a beginner. Every seasoned developer once stared blankly at a line of code. Every engineer once felt overwhelmed by the complexity of it all. But they didn't stay stuck. They started. Starting is where the shift happens. It's where fear meets courage. It's where dreams move from imagination into motion. You don't need a degree in computer science to explore data. You don't need to know advanced algorithms to understand product design. You don't need to be the best in the room to belong in the room. What you need is the courage to ask, what if I just try? Because when you do, you'll discover that learning isn't a one-time event, it's a journey. And you are allowed to grow as you go. Many women hesitate to step into tech because of imposter syndrome, the feeling that you're not qualified enough, smart enough, tech-savvy enough. But imposter syndrome doesn't reflect your ability. It reflects the systems that have made you feel like you don't belong. The world has too often sent the message that tech is for a specific type of person, usually male, usually confident, usually already connected. But that mold is breaking, and rightly so, because the future of tech needs more people who are curious, adaptable, and grounded in real-life experience. That's you. When you take that first step, whether it's signing up for a course, attending a workshop, watching a YouTube tutorial, or building something small, you're making a powerful decision to believe in your own potential. You're giving yourself permission to grow, and that growth compounds. Each small step builds confidence. Each new skill opens a door. Each challenge you face becomes part of your foundation. You won't have it all figured out at the beginning, and that's okay. The best journeys don't start with certainty. They start with curiosity, and along the way you'll find that you're not alone. The tech community is full of people who once felt the same way you do now. People who started from scratch, who leaned on mentors, who Googled their way through tough problems, who failed forward. The most important thing you can do is surround yourself with others who are learning too. Ask questions, make mistakes. Share what you know, even if it feels small, because starting is contagious, and your courage can spark someone else's. Don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Don't let the fear of not knowing everything keep you from discovering what you're capable of. You don't need to be an expert on day one. You just need to care, to try, to show up. And when you do, you'll realize that knowledge isn't the gatekeeper to opportunity, action is. The world of tech is vast, and there is room for you. Whether you want to build apps, analyze data, design user experiences, or simply understand how technology works, the path forward is waiting for you to take the first step. And every step after that will teach you something valuable, not just about tech, but about your own strength. So stop waiting, stop doubting, start where you are with what you have, learn as you go. Grow with the process, and know this: you don't have to know it all to belong here. You just have to begin, and when you do, the world opens up in ways you never imagined. Number 5. You were never meant to be silent in this space. Not in tech, not in leadership, not in the rooms where decisions are made and the future is shaped. Your voice was never meant to be muted, overlooked, or dismissed. Yet, for so long, women have been made to feel like they must shrink themselves to fit into spaces that were never designed with them in mind. The tech world, especially, has often echoed with the same voices, the same ideas, the same narrow perspectives. But that's not because others were more capable. It's because silence was expected of you, and it's time to break that silence. Your voice carries value, not just because it's different, but because it's needed. In a world increasingly driven by innovation, algorithms, and automation, the human element matters more than ever. Technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. It touches lives, shapes societies, and influences the way we see and treat one another. That's why your perspective, your questions, your lived experiences are critical. You bring empathy, you bring wisdom, you bring the kind of depth that turns cold code into meaningful solutions. Silence may have been taught, but it was never your truth. From an early age, many women are socialized to be agreeable, to not take up too much space, to doubt themselves before daring to speak. Especially in male-dominated fields like tech, the message is clear. Don't make noise, don't rock the boat, don't challenge the system. But the very things you were told to quiet are the things that can transform this industry. Your curiosity, your passion, your courage, these are not threats. They are tools for change. Tech needs disruptors. It needs people who don't just accept the way things have always been done, but who are bold enough to reimagine what's possible. You were not meant to sit on the sidelines while others build the future. You were meant to design, to lead, to challenge, and to innovate. Your voice belongs in brainstorms, in strategy meetings, in boardrooms, and on stages, not as a token, but as a trailblazer. When you speak up, you not only advocate for yourself, you speak for others who haven't yet found the strength to raise their voices. Every time you share an idea, question a process, or bring attention to something unjust, you create space. You give permission, you let others know they're not alone, and in doing so, you start to shift the culture. There will be moments when speaking up feels risky. You might worry about being judged, misunderstood, or ignored. But the cost of silence is far greater, because when women stay silent, systems remain broken, biases go unchallenged, problems remain unsolved, innovation becomes one-dimensional. But when women speak, when they lead, when they show up fully, change happens. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room. You just need to be the most authentic. Your voice can be calm or fiery, thoughtful or passionate, analytical or visionary. There is no one way to be heard. What matters is that you trust your voice enough to use it, because someone, somewhere, needs to hear exactly what you have to say. And here's something powerful to remember. The more you speak, the stronger your voice becomes. Confidence isn't something you wait to feel. That's something you build through action. Each time you choose to share your ideas, to raise a concern, to propose a new way of doing things, you reclaim your space. You remind yourself, and everyone else, that you have something meaningful to contribute. Technology is the foundation of our future. It will shape how we work, how we connect, how we live. If that future is to be inclusive, ethical, and truly innovative, it must be shaped by a wide range of voices. Yours included, yours especially. So step into the conversation, own your seat at the table, ask the tough questions, offer your insights, challenge the assumptions, don't wait for permission. Don't apologize for taking up space. You were never meant to be silent. You were meant to lead, to inspire, to create. The tech world doesn't just need more women in the room, it needs women who speak, who influence, who drive change. Let your voice rise. Let your ideas be heard, because when you break the silence, you break the cycle. And when you do, the world doesn't just hear you. It starts to change because of you. This is more than a career path, it's a movement. This is a call to rise, to innovate, to lead. The tech world doesn't just need more people, it needs more you, your passion, your ideas, your brilliance. So whether you're a student, a mother returning to the workforce, or someone who's never touched a line of code, step forward. Join boot camps, take online courses, build, break, try again, mentor and be mentored, create and collaborate, but most of all, believe that you belong, because you do, and the future won't wait. God bless you.